Hello and welcome to this introduction to Spring 2024's Reflection Report. So this is the Reflection Essay 3, but this time we're doing it as a report because there are a lot of different ideas for you to deal with and answers to give, examples to provide. So we thought it would be easier for you just to have a report to fill in. So don't worry about making paragraphs or any kind of essay. So this is starting out with just some directions about the purpose of reflective writing. And we've talked about these this semester. We're looking at what our goals are, how do we achieve them, what are the most important things we learned, what will we do differently in the future, how will we improve, those kinds of questions. The what, so what, now what model for reflection. So in this assignment, you're actually going to submit the entire assignment document. Okay, so you're not creating a separate document. You'll be filling out this document that I'm going to walk you through. So it's very different. So at the end of the report, you will be adding on an example essay, right, for folks to look at. All in all, specific examples are very, very important, and you'll probably hear me mention this multiple times. You're encouraged to quote from any of your work, any of the course material, my feedback. You can also add screenshots of your work if you are savvy with Microsoft. Okay, so as you scroll down the assignment sheet, it is the report itself, right? So I'm just going to show you how it works. You just type your name in, and then you can just keep going, and the boxes will expand, right, as you need to add more words. I thought it would be best for me to go through and give some tips on where you may have practiced some of these skills, as well as offering some decoding of the very specific vocabulary that's being used. So, because these come straight from our course outcomes. So hang on. We're gonna walk through these. I will also attach this document in the lecture space. So the first question is asking you just really generally about your growth in writing and rhetorical skills, and generally, right, over the course of the semester. So, and my tip is that typically, since this is talking about rhetorical skills for the most part, I mean, you're welcome to talk about the creative aspects of major essay 1 and other places you fit it. But really, this class is mostly about creating persuasive arguments, and those would be comments on your structure of piece-style paragraphs, your use of quotes, and ideas from the sources. And here is my first reminder, second reminder, I guess, to try to leave at least one specific example in each one of the sections. So the second question is looking at the course outcome about developing claims and stances. Right, so I wanted to go ahead and explain a little bit about what they're asking for here with civic, academic, and formal argumentation. So essentially what you want to do is explain what you've learned about creating effective arguments, including the claim, which is your thesis, reasoning that you've used, which is typically your analysis, and your use of evidence. Particularly if you want to think about counterclaims, there is material in week 13, and in Major Essay 3, you'll be encouraged to try one. So box number 3 on the report is reflect on your experience with the following course outcome, recognizing elements of argument across a variety of texts, such as visual, print, and digital. My tip for you is that in Major Essay 2, we read text sources, right, that explain the elements of argument. And then in ME3, we're also considering the visual aspects of the TED Talk. And those are described more in the Major Essay 3 assignment sheet. Number 4, demonstrate awareness of the complexity of ideas associated with issues. My answer tip is that in ME1, we wrote about the various influences on a person's voice and how many students have understood the importance of people using their voice and struggling to be heard, and that's a very important social issue. Then in ME3, your TED Talk will definitely be addressing the social issue and hopefully exploring the complex ideas associated with that issue. So those would be the kinds of examples that you could give for number 4. Number 5, practice strategies to address readers' biases and assumptions. Definitely practice this as part of ME2 when we were thinking about our audience's values and biases, either theirs or our own, as we crafted our persuasive plan. Number 6 is showing an awareness of the priority of logical appeals over emotional appeals in academic writing. And I'd say that this first part is not something that we have discussed directly, but it is true that, as you'll see in English 102 and beyond, that in academic writing, logos, or the logical appeal of facts, statistics, research, is considered more important than pathos and the emotional appeals. The second part of this question is asking for your understanding about what's called fallacious reasoning, which we've called logical fallacies, and those were discussed in detail as part of ME2. Those are things like confirmation bias. Number 7, use evidence-based reasoning to persuade a particular audience. My tip for you is that in ME2, we practice logos, or evidence-based reasoning, somewhat, but you'll probably see much more logos in ME3 when you examine the statistics and the research used in your TED Talk. Number 8, identify and address counterarguments in your writing and respond to potential objections. In ME1, most students identified the beliefs of their audience and offered counterarguments. And then there will be material again on counterarguments in week 13, and you're definitely encouraged to try to add one to ME3. Number 9, craft claims that reflect potential diversity in audience viewpoints. And my tip is that this is something that will be really good to explore in ME3 as you consider how the speaker is appealing to a variety of values in the audience. This is actually one of the ideas that's being offered for a whole body paragraph, for instance. So the material that if you choose to write on the diversity of the audience for the TED Talk, be a great place for an example in number 9. Number 10 is also a 2-part question. The first part is, how did you participate in a respectful and inclusive community of writers and readers? Essentially what that means is, did you try to be sensitive to your audience, your reading audience of the essay, me, right, and your classmates, as you gave feedback to your peers, shared ideas in discussion board, and created essays using polite and inclusive language, essentially trying not to offend folks. And the second part is, how did you use reading and writing this semester as a way to think, discover, and explore ideas? And I bet you have a lot of examples of that. So once you've filled in each of these 10 boxes, and it can be bullet points, right? It doesn't have to be complete sentences. Like I said before, it's not mini essays. You don't have to do paragraphs. You're just giving lots of examples and reflecting on the ideas too in your own words. Then when you get done with that, here at the bottom where it says example essay, you do exactly what it says here. You just paste your example essay here. Most students would probably want to use ME2 or ME3, again, because that's where we're discussing rhetoric and talking about logical appeals, using quotes, and the higher level skills that you've developed over this semester. So that's a lot. That's what we've broken down into a report. Please reach out if you have any questions, and good luck.